I'll share my screen. Neuron, if you can give me permission to share my screen.
Yes, you are now the co-host.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming to our October Town Hall. We went through our prompt, and I was so happy to hear everyone's exciting Halloween plans. If you don't know anything about Panvala, we're a network of communities. We're currently, I believe, at 86 communities and constantly growing. We're always looking for new communities to join, new people to meet, new collaborations to form. So you can always reach out anytime to jump on a call with us to learn more about how you could fit in to Panvala, whether it's an individual or as a community. One of our communities that's been a member for a long time is Blockchain Education Network. And I'm actually going to pass it over to Eric so he can talk about the updates from this community.
Hello. Hey guys, I'm just going to join from my laptop real quick, and then if you could give my laptop sharing privileges, then I'll be able to share my screen. 1 second.
I turned on share screen for everyone. I don't think anyone will abuse it. It'll be fine.
Uh-oh. You're a very trusting person.
I am.
Okay, let's see. 1 second. Okay, I'm requesting to join from the laptop.
You should be in there.
Great, everyone can see my screen.
Yes, but we hear two of you.
How about now?
Perfect.
Perfect. All right. Thank you guys for having us. We've been following Panvala for a while now. We've been part of officially a Panvala community member since March 2021. We've done a lot of things since then, so we'd like to give an update. We've also been seeing a lot of the progress of other Panvala communities, so we want to use this as our open invitation for more collaboration going forward in the future, for some brainstorming, either on the call or on the chats afterwards, because we want to get more involved with the Web3 community, especially the organizations in the Web3 community that are very focused on education. Some stats about us and how we've grown. We have over 200 schools that are part of the network. We are the largest and oldest network of blockchain students, professors, alumni, and blockchain clubs around the world. We have over 60 blockchain clubs through the company, or through our network. Over 60 students have gone on to start, or 15 students have gone on to start their own blockchain projects. We've helped match many more with job opportunities in this space, both at big companies and at small startups. We have over 24,000 Twitter followers, so a very big presence on Twitter, And then we have over 7,000 newsletter subscribers where we deliver blockchain education directly to their inboxes. Our mission for 2022 has been to create more educational resources and translate content into different languages, which we've done successfully. We just published a Solidity Fundamentals course in both English and in Hindi. We had to translate it into Hindi by a native speaker of the language, who also is the professor for that course. We've done workshops in Spanish to teach students in Spanish how to mint NFTs and how to create art and then mint that as NFTs. We've onboarded more students and professors to Ben Learn, which is our online educational platform. So we don't have to go there in person. We can teach them online, and we give them the resources to host their own offline workshops. This is especially useful during the COVID time. But even now, as life is kind of returning back to normal, it's still the preferred way for students to interact with us because it's very affordable, very cheap to do, and it's very scalable. We have been hosting a lot of workshops, though. We've hosted workshops in Turkey, we've hosted workshops in Italy, and all across Europe, in Argentina, in Colombia, in Puerto Rico, all across the US. We've done a couple in Asia, a couple in Vietnam. That's just in the past year, and then a couple in India as well. Now, we've provided a lot of free tickets for students to attend conferences. We've partnered with Decentral Miami. We've partnered with Mainnet. We've partnered with Consensus in Austin. We've partnered with Decentral, that was also in Austin. Partnered with Reblock Conference in Miami. Partnered with ETH or Solana Breakpoint and Cosmoverse in Lisbon, all for the purpose of getting free student tickets for students. And then the students that complete the lessons, they're the ones that earn the tickets, and they're able to go attend these conferences and the network or get their job opportunities. And then lastly, we help students create wealth through trading, minting, getting jobs, starting companies, all through education. There's many different ways for one to sustain oneself through blockchain. And kind of what we've been mainly pushing is we want our students to know that blockchain isn't just a hobby, because that's what a lot of students come to us as. They come to us, they want to learn about blockchain, but then they eventually got to go back to the real world, right? So we want them to know that this is the real world, right? Like people are building careers out of blockchain. People are building careers out of Web3. It's not just something you do in your free time in an after school like hobby. This is something that you could build a career out of. These are all the clubs that we've either started or helped grow over the past 8 years of operation, all across the US, across Turkey, across India, across Latin America, across Asia, across Europe and Africa. We've started a lot of clubs in a lot of places. We've had a lot of student leaders and ambassadors that come to us because they want to spread blockchain to their schools. In terms of companies, we have a lot of companies that have come out of the network that we've helped either through helping connect with their co-founders, connect with VCs, or help them through staffing with more students. Our impacts, we focus on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, specifically for no poverty, for quality education, gender equality, and industry innovation infrastructure. These kind of guide the way that we structure our programs and what we choose to focus on from our large goals to the day-to-day operations. Some Panvala stats, so checking today, we have about 33,476 Panvala staked. And we have a PAN balance of 54,473, so about $1,184. Our Ben Learn program is the program we're focused on the most right now. It's the most scalable program. We create our courses, we put our courses on there. We also have an article section where we write articles. We also have students that can practice writing and they can become analysts for Ben. They publish reports about different projects. They publish reports about the industry, and then that goes on their resume where they're able to then go and apply to jobs with that resume. We have a learn to earn cycle, as kind of hinted at earlier. The students that finish the courses are the ones that get tickets to conferences. So this is helpful in multiple ways. One, it provides strong incentive for students to go and take these courses because they know they can get some rewards at the end. But it's a healthy incentive. So when I was at MIT, I took a lot of classes on educational theory. And one of the issues with Learn to Earn is that when you provide token rewards, when you provide any dollar rewards, it's known, there's studies about how extrinsic motivation kills intrinsic motivation. So if you're not careful in the way you structure these incentivized programs and you're just giving out money, you can kill especially a developing person's desire to learn. So our approach is to give non-monetary rewards, flight tickets, Airbnbs, sponsorships, tickets to conferences that can be turned into an experience, right? So that $100, or I mean, these mainnet tickets were $2,000 each. These $2,000 will go a lot further as a conference experience than they will as just straight up money, right? Especially like in a token that might be a liquid or whatever the case is. And then the other thing is that the students are a lot more prepared when they get to the conference to network because they took the course first. So because they learn about Solidity, or because they understand about music NFTs, or they learn about like virtual land, or they learn about development, when they go, especially if it's a hackathon, they're able to participate more intelligently. And this is a direct feedback that we got from students back when we were just giving tickets out to like a first come, first serve. Students would come to us afterwards and they say like, it was really great, but they wish they had learned more beforehand. They wish they had prepared more beforehand because they didn't get that much out of it. So this is a positive cycle that we've created there. And lastly, we're excited to announce that we're starting up a venture fund to invest in students, invest in these like brilliant students and these bright ideas. We're doing a 10-year fund, 1 million to 5 million. 5 million is the goal. You know, we plan on writing startup checks to students. We want to be the first ones to support these students that we've seen growing. We want them to be able to not have to do a campus job, for them to be able to focus on blockchain. We are doing our thing through AngelList, so everything is super easy and straightforward there. So we invite you, if you want to be an LP, if you want to invest in us as we invest in these students, we invite you to come aboard our mission there. And that's everything about us. We're at blockchainedu.org. You can donate at blockchainedu.org/donate, and you can go see the platform at learn.blockchainedu.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. That was great. You guys are doing so much. And I just want to open it up to see if anyone has any questions for you.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm just curious how big your team is. You guys are doing so much, so I'm just interested in like the scale of your operations, I guess. It's very impressive. I mean, you've got global reach, and yeah, the number of students moving through and the activities you're doing, there's like real depth of your work. It's inspiring.
Yes, we are 2 full-time people, and then a bunch of independent contractors, and mostly student ambassadors at the different universities.
Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool. That's an interesting org structure as well.
I'm curious, Eric, I heard you spoke of universities, and I'm just curious what ages the education like is targeting are there tools that like is there content that's available for perhaps younger humans closer to like 12, 13 age, or is it mostly for college age and above?
The content that we have online is mainly geared towards college students and high school students. We've created more content, or we're starting now to do more for elementary schoolers and middle schoolers. So we partnered with the Boys and Girls Club of Puerto Rico last year, and we did an NFT workshop. And I personally led that workshop. It was in Spanish. That one was definitely geared, the audience there was 10 to 16-year-olds. And so our hope is to translate that into more online content, because right now that exists solely in the form of like these workshops that are targeted towards a younger demographic. But yeah, the content is mainly high school, college, and our hope is to be able to go younger with the online portion.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. This is really exciting. I feel like I've heard about Blockchain Education Network and I know what you're doing, but to hear you talk about it and to see the examples, it really gets my tail wagging.
Well, let's connect. We have a Discord. We'd love for everyone to join our Discord. The link is at the website. And there we set up chats with anyone that wants to be a partner, anybody that wants to be a collaborator, and then we figure out how we can share our resources.
Eric, I have a question for you, because my head started churning about East Denver. Sorry, Neuron. But I'm curious if Ben is going to be there, and if you are, what plans you all have.
We'd have to coordinate it. Previously, ETH Denver 2019, we were the education partner. So we were giving the workshops on the second floor to like do the intro level workshops. We also were on the top floor in the makerspace, so teaching about blockchain for hardware, or like how to do IoT based blockchain stuff. And then we also had the tickets to help students get there. The tickets itself were free, but we helped with like Airbnb hosting. We did the same in 2019 and 2020. It was online. So we just kind of like helped students sign up for the online hackathon and promotion. For 2021, I was there as well. And that one was back in person. So we did a little outreach to some of the schools around Colorado. And then, I mean, yeah, for 2022, I think we kind of did a similar thing. 2023, don't know yet. We have to get back in touch for the next year and see what opportunities there are for partnership.
So if you are interested, I think it would be great if we could have like partner up with you and do some kind of educational piece. Maybe it's around like art and NFTs or you know, whatever. Well, we could talk about it, but that's where my head is going. Maybe we could collaborate in some way.
Yeah, I think that would be great. I take it Panvala is going to be there. They have a strong presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna wait to talk about it later with the slide, but I'll just talk about it now. We are curious what the communities in our network are going to be doing, what they want to be doing. We're planning on currently having a panel again, perhaps having some kind of like educational art space. We're doing an AI arts experience. So we are seeing if maybe other communities want to do some kind of educational art experience as well. So yes, we can talk about it.
Great.
One more quick question. So you mentioned some of the NFT workshops that you ran with some of the student groups. Like in terms of like the interest level of the people participating in these things, like how would you compare their interest in NFTs to the other crypto topics out there? Like I know the NFT boom in general is very widespread, but within the college age demographic, definitely curious what's resonating with people who are up and coming.
I think that the NFTs are definitely more accessible to middle schoolers and high schoolers than other blockchain concepts. For the college age students, they're very interested in learning. They are interested in learning development. They're interested in learning crypto taxes, crypto law. They're interested in learning DeFi. They're interested in learning DAOs. We've done stuff with the meta delegates where we've like grown, you know, at clubs like for voting and governance and running like delegators and voting's power for different blockchain projects. But for NFTs, it's definitely more on the high schooler side and middle schooler side, which is exciting because it's very accessible for them. When I did this workshop in Puerto Rico last year, it was last December, the students there, they were very young and they didn't know like what blockchain was or what Bitcoin was or who Elon Musk was, right? They're like inner city kids, and what they wanted to learn about was, you know, I like to draw, I like to play Roblox, I like to play Minecraft. What can I do with that? Is it just good for, it's just a game, it's just a hobby? So for us, it was kind of like planting that seed in them that this is a potential way that they can make income, right? This is a potential, this could be their career. There's a career that's there in terms of like being an artist in a sustainable way, or being a game developer and creating like play to earn games, or creating games built on top of metaverses. And it's very, very accessible to them, especially because of all the no-code tools that have been created over the past few years for minting your own NFT. So that's kind of where a lot of the interest is. We have a video summary of the experience of the Boys and Girls Club workshop. We have the students make the art pieces and we show them how to mint the NFTs, and then we auction some of the art pieces off.
Awesome. That video is on YouTube?
Yep. I can share in the link too as well here.
That'd be great. Thanks for sharing. This is fascinating work and a very important work. I appreciate that you're working on this.
Thank you guys.
Any other questions for Eric before we move on, or comments? Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to share my screen again. And I think next up, yeah, are some Panvala updates. I'm going to pass it over to Margaret so she can talk about IMCON and the other conference that Miran and some of the other fellows attended this year.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, so MCon, that was exciting for a number of reasons. Panvala hosted a pan art event, which you're seeing the slides go through, where we led people through an interactive imaginal exercise that got them to create a postcard from the future that was kind of leaning into dreaming the future that they want to build or that their community wants to build. And yeah, so we used Midjourney for that, and it was, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was definitely like our first iteration of a blueprint that we want to expand and kind of upgrade and make a more enjoyable experience for people. I think there's something fun about asking, or not even something fun, there's something important about asking all of us to really dream about the positive futures that we want to build. And having the added bonus of being able to put a visual to that is, I think, potentially really powerful. So we're open to ideas. If anyone went through it and tried it out, you can still, there's still a Discord channel, which Rachel has linked to here on the slide, where you can still go and create your own. And we have the kind of instructions up on the website, so you can like go through it at your own pace. Yeah, so that was pan art. We also did a like social hour at this awesome restaurant, Cuba Cuba. And that was really nice. Just a chance for some community gathering in real life and meet new people, put faces to names, names to faces. Overall, I would say, yeah, MCon super positive. I don't know. What else am I missing? Niran, you got anything to add about MCon?
It was just generally a great time. Like MCon is kind of a special conference for us because in all the crypto conferences, either they're about crypto in general, or they're about DeFi, they're about NFTs. And MCon is one of the few conferences that are really about community, more or less, like people who are in the DAO corner of the crypto space, focused on using this technology to bring people together. So being able to meet back up with those kind of people, our people, more or less, catch up with people, show people what we're up to. Like it's just one of the best times of the year for us. MCon is kind of a special conference for us. So yeah, it's very enjoyable. And again, like one of the core things that we're trying to make part of the Panvala rhythm is until the movement has grown to a point where we're convening our own independent events, making sure that we can tap into like-minded conferences, put together an in-person Panvala experience there for people to be able to feel what it's like to be part of Panvala in person. Like that's a crucial part of what we do. Community life is not a online thing. You can build communities online, but it's not, you can't build a shining example of community life online. In person, you can. So using these opportunities to both build up our muscle for what it looks like to convene people in that sort of way, and to demonstrate to the various attendees, et cetera, like what it is that we're up to is always a good opportunity. And again, the steady drumbeat is building up to some sort of a Panvala summit, some sort of, like when we bring people together to do what it is that Panvala does, which is help communities thrive, help communities bring people together, and do what it is that they do with one another. So it's a good time. If I highly recommend the conference in general for people who are interested next year.
And then, Margaret, do you want to do an update about Unfinished Live or Neuron?
Sure, why not? So Unfinished Live is another event that we went to. I had not heard anything about it until 2 weeks before this event happened. But when people described what was coming together, basically a conference that wasn't crypto people, that it was really people who were trying to fix our society, more or less, fix our democracy, make sure that we can continue to have a functioning society with one another. Like that to me is an interesting cross-cutting group of people, because there were crypto people, the people putting it on are involved with a particular crypto social network sort of thing that is interesting in its own right, but really bringing together people across like the academic world, the policy world, the nonprofit world, so many different spheres that normally the crypto stuff doesn't get to cross ties with. Like that to me is what made this event special, and that's why I got on a plane to go to it against my will. So it ended up being a very good time. Met a lot of people that I like. That again, when they hear about crypto, they haven't heard about anything like Panvala. When you talk to these kinds of people about it, they're like, well, "You're doing that?" Like it's just not it's not what people expect when they hear about some sort of crypto project. So being able to show more kinds of people both what this technology can help people do, but what it is that we're doing in particular, and finding ways to collaborate with them was a good opportunity to move things forward. Definitely left that conference with a lot of new relationships that I think will be crucial to the next year or two in Panvala's trajectory. So yeah, it's a good time.
Can I add one thing about Unfinished Live, which for me made it so remarkable, was so Niran mentioned the kind of intersectionality of people coming from these different domains. And I think one thing that stood out for me about it was that, so I think a lot about the triple strategy, vision, and culture. And I think sometimes different organizations are focused on different areas, and that there was literally an intersection of all of that, but that the culture piece was really prevalent. Arts and like how technology enables arts and culture was a kind of consistent thread throughout the conference. And there were a lot of, I think, people who were invited who were just artists or creators, whether like digital or more traditional. And so I noticed for me how that felt really different than a lot of other events that I know I personally attended in any sphere, and how that felt like something that I know for myself with Panvala, I really want us to do more of figuring out how to highlight the ways in which culture is being thought of or asked to change directly, and people who are thinking deeply about culture, as well as the ways that we're thinking about the strategy and the tech and like the future, but also making sure we kind of round it out with the very imminent human side of like day to day, what it's like to live in this world and the ones that we're building towards.
Thanks, Margaret and Iran. We'll keep going and we'll do questions towards the end if anyone has any. So like I spoke about earlier, we are starting to plan for ETH Denver, mostly because we need to tell the organizers of ETH Denver what we plan to do. But if you have any interest in collaborating, if you have any needs from your community, you can drop them in our Discord channel, hashtag ETH Denver 2023. Yeah, and then we can start the conversation. So some updates from Panvala. We are currently looking for resources, and those resources are going to be used to expand what we do, expand our team, and what our team is capable of doing to help us grow in those ways. We're going to be expanding our dance programs or looking for new campaigns. We have some that I'm sure Neuron will talk about in a moment that are on the horizon. We have a new stamp we'll be launching once we get it minted. We also want to continue to create this culture of collecting within our current network of communities. On top of that, starting to think about how we can bring the stamps program into our everyday lives. So like if you go out and buy your coffee, getting a stamp to use towards your community of choice. So those are some things that are on the horizon, that are on our minds, that we'll be working towards. We're also, go ahead, Mira.
Really quickly on the researching part. So basically, at the stage that we're at with Panvala, like we have basically, like I would say there's been two phases so far of Panvala. One is kind of bootstrapping the network, getting people to come together to participate in something that's bigger than themselves, growing the network from 5 communities to 86 communities. That sort of phase where it's really like, how can we share the resources that we invented, that is Panvala's treasury, get communities to come together to govern that system together and grow that network. That was a significant part of starting up the network. Earlier this year, we started the stamps program, which again is the way that we work together to get resources to come back in the door, to come to the communities that are participating in the program. And the stamps program is working. Sponsors like having this way to reach their customers that doesn't involve just giving their money to Facebook or Google, where they can literally give their resources that they're spending to get customers in the door to give it to the communities that their customers are in. So demonstrating that that people like minting the stamps, people like collecting the stamps has been the phase that we're in, and that is working as well. So really right now, to make that grow faster and with more kinds of communities, basically finding the right partners that want to join us on this journey and help it grow is where we're at, both on the sort of nonprofit foundation grant giving side, people who want to help communities have more agency, have more resources to take on the challenges they face, and see this model as a way to help do their work that they already want to help promote. And then on the sort of like investment style angle, people who want to build an economy where serving communities is really the name of the game, and have businesses that operate in that with that priority. So there's kind of two sides of the equation there. So like it's an exciting time for us, really finding ways to take advantage of what we've done so far, where we're headed, and basically pour more fuel on the fire to be able to grow this movement both within the Web3 and on the ground in the cities we all live in. Very excited to make this thing grow faster.
Thanks, Neuron. And then one other thing that we're looking at is reimagining what it means to be a member of Panvala, like what we offer those members, the ease of experience of being a member, the relationships we're building as being a member. We had coalitions for a while, and we eventually decided to let them sunset in hopes that we discover a new way or better way to interact with our community. And that, for right now, at the very least, we're kind of focusing on doing that in person at these different conferences. But we'll see what comes out of it. So these are just some different things we have on our mind that we're going to be focusing on probably for the next quarter. So talking more about our stamps program, the current stamps available, Index Co-op has two ways to collect a stamp. Logo Stamp has, I think, 7 different ways to collect. Opolis has 2 different ways. You can check those out on panvala.com/stamps. This other image is the current leaderboard. So the top 5 communities that have raised the most money: People's Cooperative, Shenanigan, and One Hive. You can see most of their funding has come from the stamps program. Shenanigan and One Hive kind of go back and forth between being the top 2 communities that are collecting stamps. We are coming up to the end of this quarter, the end of October. So we have kind of the whole month This is how you can think of it. The whole month to collect stamps for your community to get even more funding. Because every stamp your community collects, Panvala will match it. And then we do have a new stamp. Niran, I'm not sure if we should talk about this yet. I don't know if you continued trying to mint it yesterday or not.
Let's talk about it. It's going to get minted
Okay.
one way or another today.
Okay, perfect. And Ripley's here from Generous Abundance Fund, and I don't know if you want to talk about this as well, Ripley, but the plan is to have this available October 5th. And Generous AF's mission is to focus on inspiring and educating people to be generous. So they've teamed up with us to create these stamps to encourage this action. So you can earn stamps by doing one of the following things. You can do both of the things. Follow, share, or repost the post from Generous AF on social media to earn the Smiling Angel stamp, and that's valued at $1. You can also share a story of a time when you were generous and tag Generous AF on social media to earn the Beaming Angel stamp that's valued at $10. Ripley, do you want to mention anything about this?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you for the surprise presentation. I totally understand with the minting issues, and definitely had to move a lot of things around to accommodate. But I always say in divine timing, when it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. So yeah, with all the pivoting that I had to do with Generous AF, mostly because I literally started it right when the shutdown happened. And I always had to come back to, well, why am I doing this? And it was really because I have donated a lot of my time and money and resources to nonprofits. But what if I made it easier for other people to do the same? And what's in the way? And maybe people just need to see examples of that. And when Niran started the stamps program with Panvala, I thought, oh, this is great because it'll help me get on social media more. And that also extends the reach of sharing with people, what it means to be generous and get people involved in sharing those stories. So that's why I thought it would be good to have like 2 entry points to participate in the stamps program. One's like super easy and, $1 can go a long way. And if people put more effort into it, then they could donate more money. And we're sponsoring that at $10 to share a story. And when I say social media, I mean like all the social media. So when you report your participation, just drop a link or a screenshot of which social media, so I can like build that up more and spread the word of how you were generous. And that's it. I mean, I do also want to share that through Panvala, I did make some other community connections that I'm super excited about, mostly through Regen CLT Community Land Trust. That also linked me to another group. I don't know if they're connected with Panvala yet, but I will be rubbing elbows with them to join. And that is a sludge hub. So Generous AF is working with them to do community building and community programming with them. So thank you again, Panvala.
That's awesome. It's always good to hear stories about people like making new connections through the network and finding new people to work with. So very excited to hear.
Thanks, Ripley. I think what's next is the stamps program. Niran, if you want to take it from here, and I know you always have your own kind of deck you like to share when we talk about stamps.
I don't have the deck up, so I'm going to do it without the deck. You're just going to get my face this time. But basically just to refresh people, to unpack what's going on with the stamps. The mission of Panvala as a mass movement is to shift every single dollar in our economy that's spent on marketing away from marketing middlemen like Google and Facebook and into the budgets of communities across our society. Like from our perspective, anytime we see a marketing dollar spent in our economy, that is a dollar that could be funding communities. So imagine that like there was this giant endowment that any human on earth could tap into to take to fund the community they care about. That is how we see the world. It's just that the endowment is going to the wrong place. So why is it going to Mark Zuckerberg's pockets? Why is it going to the shareholders of Google? Like, our mass movement is intended to just reclaim that endowment, to put those dollars back in our control. So anytime that you have the desire to do something with the people you like, doing the theme that you like, you don't feel like you have to dig deeper into your pocket to make that happen. It's just using your share of the endowment to make that happen. Those dollars are already spent on you. They're just not being spent for you. And that's what our mass movement changes. That's what stamps are all about. Anytime you collect a stamp, collecting the stamp is the action of shifting a dollar away from other forms of marketing and into your community. That's what you're doing every time you collect a stamp. Those dollars could have been spent on ads. They could have been spent for the naming rights to a sports stadium. They could have been spent in all sorts of different ways to get customers in the door. But when you collect a stamp, that's a dollar that's being spent in your community to earn your business. That's the shift that's happening. And the more you collect the stamps, the stronger that power gets. Because again, when imagine you're on the other side of the equation. You're in one of the businesses that's sponsoring these stamps. What you're trying to decide when you're laying out your marketing budget is, what is the most effective way for me to get customers in the door? And the more you and your community members are collecting stamps, the more you're making purchasing decisions based on where you can get stamps, the more on their side they have to say, well, we should put like 50% of our marketing budget into stamps, or 75%, et cetera. Basically, the stronger you build that culture of stamp collecting, that changes the decision making on their end. That's how the movement works. That's how our power builds. It's by you collecting more stamps. It's by your community building that culture of stamp collecting, where you're highlighting the people who are effectively collecting the stamps, encouraging other people to collect the stamps, celebrating what the stamps, the value is, the value of the stamps is helping you do within your community, building up that culture, building up the habits of collecting stamps and making decisions in our economy based on where you can get the stamps is what moves the dollars. And at the end of the day, we are going to move every single marketing dollar in our economy. We're going to make it flow to communities like the ones that you're in, like the ones that other people are in, communities I would never ever join, but communities that people are enjoying despite the fact that I would never join them. It's not about getting on the same page about what we should all be doing together. It's about giving you and I the agency to do what we care about with the people we already agree with stuff about. That's what this is all about. At the end of the day, if you imagine a world with a whole bunch of communities, with a whole bunch more resources than they have today, then when beyond just having a good time with one another, like doing the thing it is they do, whether it's like art or sports or a church, whatever it is the community is doing within themselves, having more resources to do that, that's one side of the puzzle. But if you imagine a society with communities with tons of resources, when those communities come across a problem, some sort of issue they see out there in the world that they want a solution for, right now the default thing people turn to is like, how can we get the government to solve this problem? And I don't politics aside, that approach just doesn't seem to be making many people happy right now. So if communities had more resources to make a dent in the problems they see on their own with the people they already agree with, they don't have to convince 51% of the whole country that both the problem exists and that their way of solving the problem is the right one. They can just make that decision on their own, do what they can to solve the problem within their community and move forward. We can get unstuck. We don't have to be arguing all the time. We don't have to have this tension as a society. We can let people make decisions on their own by empowering them with more resources. The place those resources come from is the marketing economy. The same thing that powered the emergence of the internet. Every internet startup, eventually they're like, hey, maybe we'll get people to pay for something. And then they're like, no, ads. We're gonna take marketing dollars. That's how we're gonna power our business. Like, that is the same logic at play here. Literally, the thing that is the most movable in our economy is how marketing dollars flow. And the mistake that we've made as a society is not organizing ourselves to move those marketing dollars. It should not be businesses controlling what it is we're buying, what it is we're paying attention to, Like that should be us and our communities making those decisions together. So that's the world that we're trying to build. That's what's happening when you collect stamps. That's what's happening when you get another community to join Panvala. That's what's happening when another sponsor offers a new stamp campaign. You're moving the way that dollars flow in our economy. And when our work is done, every single marketing dollar in our economy will flow into communities like the ones that you're in, both online and in the real world. That's how we're going to reshape the way this world works. So we're super excited that you're part of this movement. Anytime that you are looking for help, either just within your own community, trying to solve a problem within your own community, or when it comes to getting your community to participate in this movement, collecting stamps, getting the value from those stamps, etc. We want to help you solve that because that's what our job is. We want to help this movement grow, but at the end of the day, it is not us. The movement literally exists in your communities, and we want to help your communities thrive. So always reach out to us anytime we can make that happen. That's why we're doing stamps. That's why this work is so important. We can literally give every community more resources and more agency to shape the world a little bit more like they want it to be. That's my pitch.
Thanks, Miran. Does anyone have any questions about anything we covered today or comments?
I have a question. So I think I saw on the website, I'm curious the best way to get involved as a community. So like the community that I'm representing, building digital tooling for communities, and we're more technical. So I love coming, and this is the second session that I've come to with your team and your community. You have such a rich community social interface as opposed to like our technical interface. So it's like soothing a part of my like soul because a lot of what you're talking about, it just resonates deeply, and you're doing the work with people, which we're doing the work with technology. And so the long and short of it is I'm curious because I saw somewhere on the website that you do phone calls with communities to like bridge people in. And I think my question is how to get involved and at what stage of community growth, like what do we need to look like in order to interface with Panvala as a community is my second part of the question.
I can answer that. Rachel, if you want to take it, you can too, but I can do it. All right, I'll do it. So as far as the stage that you have to be at, there aren't hard requirements today about like what you have to be to join Panvala. We historically, we have accepted communities at all sorts of stages of their growth because again, it's not a problem for us to engage communities early. The earlier we engage them, the more they can build that culture from the ground up where it's like, okay, we're not just a community coming together to fund things out of our own pockets. We're a community coming together to grab some of those marketing dollars and fund what it is that we want to do. Like starting early is not a problem for us. It is always good to have some existing, community momentum that is like places where people come together, like actually having human beings coming together somewhere, even if it's online, even if it's in a Discord. But just some existing community is always better to start with. And then basically what the process looks like is that the existing communities in the network decide which new communities to accept or reject. We haven't actually rejected anybody yet. But again, as this movement grows and more people see the opportunity available, there's going to be some communities that want to join that the other communities don't want to work with. So the power, where that power lies is with the existing member communities. So we go through that process so people know where that power lies, but we haven't used it yet. And I hope we don't have to for a while, but we're eventually going to have to, and that's why it's there. So yeah, like that we definitely want your community to join. And the most straightforward way to do that, like since you already know what we would go over in that initial call that you sign up for at join.panvala.com, you don't necessarily have to set up another one just so we go through that. Once you and your community are on the same page about wanting to join Panvala, the next step is to actually submit the application. And what that looks like is literally sending an email to membership@panvala.com saying our community wants to join Panvala. It doesn't have to be like a long explanation about what your community does, especially if you have a link to what you like your community's website. But basically, the information that we get from there is what we pass is what we pass on to the member communities to be able to get an idea of who it is that's joining the network, and that they would be happy to work with them as we build this movement.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Kristen, I did want to say, if you do want to join a call, feel free to schedule one. Because if you feel like you might not know how to explain Panvala to other people in your community, we're happy to do it. Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I would do that, was just to bring my community in so that they could meet you all and we could ask questions and that kind of thing. I actually have to jump to another call, but I'm sure I will see you all again and I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. And if no one else has any questions, we just want to thank you all for coming and joining us, and reach out anytime. And yeah, any last words, Meron?
I just want to again thank everybody for being part of this. To me, this is some of the most important work that we can really be doing to like get us out of the problems that we all see around us. Like the more that we can help communities grow, the better off we're all going to be. So really excited to have you all be a part of this movement, and looking forward to see where we go from here. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.